Hello everyone. Today is World Health Day, and every year the WHO, the World Health Organization, has a focused theme, and this year's theme is depression. Now, just because we live in society, we all know that depression is on the rise, but what many of us probably don't realize is how serious it's gotten. According to the World Health Organization, it's the number one cause today of illness and disability, and more than 300 million people worldwide suffer from depression. Now, why should this be the case, and what can we do about it? In the article that's linked to this video, we've got answers to all those questions, as always backed by research. So do take a look. So I'm going to use this video just to touch upon a few key points from my own personal experience in helping people with depression. First up, by calling depression a chemical imbalance in the brain, it certainly helps to reduce some of the stigma, because otherwise people may not seek help and they just end up feeling guilty. Now that is a very good sort of positive thing that comes out of calling it a chemical imbalance. But unfortunately, the flip side of it is that you also end up just giving them chemical drugs as the only solution to depression, and that's all they get for life. In my personal experience, depression is often from a deeper cause, and that cause needs to be addressed for it to be dealt with properly. So I'm going to take a couple of cases to illustrate what I mean from my personal practice, of course without taking any names, and I'll explain why it is that depression is often on account of other root causes. The first is of a young lady who came in with her husband, and she was diagnosed with clinical depression. She had been put on antidepressants, and what's more, she had some unexplained pains which her husband and her doctors both thought were basically part of her hallucinations. Now, once I did a detailed case history, I asked her to do a few thyroid function tests, and when the results came back, we realized that the lady was actually suffering from low thyroid hormone or hypothyroidism, and that was probably the cause of lots of stuff that was happening to her. So I referred her back to her endocrinologist. She got the right medication she needed. We gave her also dietary supplements to support her thyroid gland, and within just a fortnight, both her pains and her depression went away. Now, that's a nice ending or a happy ending, but the number of cases where thyroid is missed as a possible cause of the depression is frighteningly large. So if you know anybody who has either been diagnosed with clinical depression or is being given antidepressants for as medication for their condition, then you must make sure that they get the right thyroid tests. The details of the tests are in the article that's attached to this video. The second case that I'd like to mention today and explain another root cause of depression is a young man. He came in, a teenager, came in with his parents. The parents, of course, were really worried. The young man himself looked, really thin. He had lost weight. His cheeks were sunken in, and he displayed all the classical signs of clinical depression. Not only was he not interested in school, but he was not interested in friends or movies or entertainment or anything else. So he would have ideally gone down as a textbook case of depression. In fact, he'd been prescribed antidepressants. But when I took a detailed case history, I realized that this was probably a textbook case of poor nutrition leading to disastrous consequences. So when I inquired about his diet, I found out that he lived mostly on pizzas and frappuccinos and Diet Coke, and that's pretty much all he had. So when he did get some home-cooked food, it was probably a couple of servings of vegetables and mostly carbs. There was absolutely no fat in his diet, so no butter, no ghee. He was just afraid of getting fat. So I requested the parents to give us some privacy, and I explained to the young man what he was likely going to face a few years down the line if he continued to eat the way he did, that he might end up with premature aging and with chronic illnesses. Now that was enough to rattle him up, and he was ready to give it a go to change his diet. So we put him on a diet of home-cooked food, took away all the nonsense processed carbs out of his diet, and also we realized that he was low on vitamin D3 and vitamin B12. These are again from lab tests, and these two are often missed by doctors when they look for possible causes of depression. So we supplemented, these are really cheap, easily available vitamins, so vitamin D3 and B12. And I also gave him some cod liver oil. Cod liver oil is a fantastic source of omega-3 and of vitamin A and D. And he sort of took to this, and in 8 weeks' time, when he stepped back into my room and I looked at him, he was a completely changed man. I couldn't believe that it was the same young man who had come in, because his cheeks had filled out, his face was shining, and much to the surprise of both him and his parents, he was no longer depressed. Why did this happen? Well, cholesterol has been branded a villain in all our minds now for decades. We've been told that we should eat vegetable oils and trans fats instead of good fats like ghee and butter. And we do this in good faith, thinking that we're going to clean up our arteries and protect our heart and so on. Unfortunately, nothing could be further from the truth. The good fats, the omega-3s, and the vitamins, the fat-soluble vitamins that travel in animal fat into our bodies when we eat the good fats, those are vitamin K, E, D, and A. These vitamins, along with the omega-3, form the absolute bedrock of good mental health, because they form the constituents of neurotransmitters, the chemicals that make us feel good and keep us in good mood. Now that's the reason why we all need good fats. Those are just two examples of really simple ways in which you can look at depression differently. The other thing that I'd like to mention is about yoga. So just a few minutes of yoga and meditation has been proven repeatedly in research to be fantastic in helping you cope with depression. So go ahead, take a look at the article, which has all the details of the things that you can do to deal with depression, simple things that are often missed by most doctors. Please do go ahead and share this with everybody. I say everybody because in today's society, we don't know who is secretly dealing with depression, and they are not seeking help because they are afraid of being labeled and having to take chemical drugs for the rest of their lives. We wish you vibrant physical and mental health. Thank you very much for tuning in.